So if you've seen my video on the Crowley is Malleus's long-lost father theory, you know I don't really like this theory for a variety of reasons. So instead of doing my own take on that theory, we're gonna be silly and ask ourselves, if true, how much money would Crowley owe in child support? So I want to start off with some disclaimers. 1. Chapter 7 spoilers. If you're not playing JP, they're spoilers. 2. I'm using information from California courts and the British royal family. Each state has their own way of calculating child support, and I'm using info from my state. I figure since cost of living is high here, it's probably more than what Crowley would actually have to pay. I'd rather overestimate than under. And also for numbers for royalty, the British royal family stuff is what popped up for me, so that's what we're using. Calculating child support can be very difficult unless you're using a special calculator for that. There's an actual formula for it, but it's very confusing, so I went with the calculator method. I did try to manually do it, but part of the issue is that one of the factors is money set aside for childcare specifically, and I straight up didn't know what to do for that. The calculator didn't ask for it, so is it accurate? I don't know, it's probably honestly just an estimator, but we're using it anyway. Normally, the parent who earns the most money pays more child support, and also the parent who spends less time with the child has to pay more. So if you're rich and you spend no time with your kid, you gotta pay a lot in child support. Also, I'm assuming $1 is 1 thou mark. In JP, it's 100 yen is 100 thou marks, but I think Ian actually adjusted the numbers for peeps who use USD, so I'm going with that. And also, I'm gonna be using dollars and thou marks interchangeably. We're just doing it. But anyways, let's talk about costs. Headmasters for private schools earn an average yearly salary of $70,167. It's $5,847 a month. That's on the high end, but we're going to assume this is what Crowley earns since NRC is prestigious and stuff. We're also going to assume that he has to pay rent and utilities, although to be honest, I sometimes wonder if he actually lives on campus. Average rent in California is $1,837 and utilities are $380. That leaves Crowley with $3,630. I'm treating this as disposable incomes. I'm not going to bother going into taxes. I literally just finished doing mine. I do not want to do a fictional man's fictional taxes for him. So I'm treating that $3,000 as his disposable income. Taking into account he makes less than the royal family, who, basing it off the British royal family like I mentioned, probably have a monthly allowance of $1,100,000, and he doesn't spend time with Malleus, he would have to pay 475 thou marks a month. But let's take into account that Malleus is 178 years old. And not only that, but he was in stasis for 400 years. I don't think eggs should be considered people. This is a pro-choice household, and we hate anti-choicers here. But I think in Briar Valley, they would consider dragon eggs babies to some extent. You have to physically hold the egg constantly, and if someone's a single parent, that means they're having to hold the egg constantly and potentially sacrifice their job in order to just get the damn thing to hatch. So I think Briar Valley courts would start child support payments when the egg is laid because financial aid might be needed. I would hope they recognize it's not a child yet, but I could see them starting payments as early as possible. So that means Crowley has 578 years of child support he's late on. Hi, Editor Mari! So I realized while editing this that I made a massive math mistake. I'm gonna salvage what footage I can, but yeah, visuals are gonna be a little wonky from this point on. I accidentally did the math as 475 times 578, but as I was editing, I realized that wasn't right, and that was for 578 months of child support and not years, since I used 475, which is monthly payments and not yearly. Crowley would have to pay 475 a month, which is 5,700 thou marks a year. That times 578 means he owes a whopping 3,294,600 thou marks in child support. I don't know if there's late fees for child support, but there is interest that can get racked up. It's 10% per year, and he's missed 578 years of child support. Using another formula that includes the principal child support payment amount per year, he would owe an additional 335,160 thou marks in just interest. So in the end, he would owe Maleficia a grand total of 3,629,760 thou marks in child support payments for Malleus. Now, there is some discrepancies with this because we don't know how long Malleus was in egg form when Levan went missing, so it's probably a little less than this, but not by a whole lot. I hope you enjoyed this frankly kind of dumb deep dive. Maybe I'll make a serious take on the Crowley's Levan theory in the future, but for now, I just don't think the evidence is strong enough, so we're gonna be a little goofy silly. Thank you everyone for watching, and a very special thank you to my channel members and Twitch subs. Your support helps me to continue to make these videos. If you'd like early access to my videos, consider becoming a channel member. Patrons and Ko-fi members can get my scripts early before I record them. I livestream over on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see y'all later.